Hey ladies, let's get real for a second. Are you tired of feeling like people walk all over you? You set boundaries, but somehow they keep getting crossed. Well, today I'm breaking down Jordan Peterson's 5 hard truths you need to set or risk being walked on. What happens when you don't enforce your rules? Chaos, disrespect, and, worst of all, losing yourself in the process. So, are you ready to take control? Stay tuned to learn how to stop being a doormat and start demanding the respect you deserve. Rule 1. Stop apologizing for existing. Too many women shrink themselves in the name of politeness. That's not virtue, that's self-erasure. Assert yourself. You have the right to speak, to think, to occupy space. Apologizing for your needs, opinions, or presence invites others to dismiss you. Speak with clarity and purpose and watch how the world adjusts. Look around and you'll see it everywhere, women making themselves small to make others comfortable. You apologize before you speak. You soften your voice. You laugh nervously to cushion a bold idea. Why? Because somewhere along the way, you were taught that to be kind, you must be quiet, that to be accepted, you must not take up too much space. But listen, that's not humility. That's suppression. And it's costing you. If you walk through life constantly apologizing for who you are, you're training the world to undervalue you. When you second-guess your opinions in meetings, when you let others interrupt you without pushing back, when you downplay your wins because you don't want to brag, you're sending a message, not just to others, but to yourself, that you're not worthy of being heard, that your existence is a burden. And that's a lie. You are not a burden. You are a force. You don't have to be loud to be powerful, but you do have to be grounded in truth. The truth is this: you have value simply because you exist, not because you're pleasing, not because you're useful, not because you make everyone around you comfortable, just because you are. And that's enough to stand your ground. Now, this doesn't mean you should bulldoze everyone around you. That's not strength, that's arrogance. What I'm talking about is earned confidence. Confidence rooted in competence, in clarity, in responsibility. When you know what you believe and why, you don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You just speak, and that's enough. So how do you live this in daily life? Start by paying attention to how often you say, "I'm sorry," when you're not. Did you bump into someone? Sure, apologize. But did you just offer an idea in a meeting and then immediately say, "Sorry if that sounded stupid"? That's not humility, that's self-sabotage. Catch yourself in those moments. Replace "I'm sorry" with "thank you." Instead of "sorry I'm late," say "thank you for waiting." It shifts your posture from guilt to gratitude, from shrinkage to strength. Next, stop waiting for permission. If you have something to say, say it. If you need space, ask for it. If you're proud of something, own it. You don't need to apologize for ambition, for confidence, or for wanting more. That's not selfish, it's human. And if someone's uncomfortable with your growth, that's their limitation, not yours. Every time you choose to show up fully, without shrinking, without apologizing for your voice, you reinforce something essential: that you matter, that your perspective is valid, and that you're not here to disappear quietly into the background. You're here to stand up, speak out, and live a life you won't regret. So stop apologizing for existing. Start standing as if you belong, because you do. And when you do, others will rise to meet the strength you've chosen to embody. Rule 2. Define what you will and will not tolerate. If you don't set limits, others will push until you break. Motivation. Boundaries are not selfish, they're necessary. Whether in relationships, work, or friendships, you must teach others how to treat you. Saying no is a sign of self-respect, not rudeness. Weak boundaries invite strong regrets. If you don't draw the line, someone else will cross it. That's the hard truth. Every day, people will test your boundaries. Not always maliciously, but certainly consistently. And if you haven't clearly defined what's acceptable to you, you'll find yourself nodding along, staying silent, or tolerating disrespect you don't deserve, not because you agree with it, but because you never decided where the line was in the first place. and that's where your suffering begins. You see, boundaries are not walls, they're standards. They're the rules you set for how others are allowed to engage with you, and more importantly, how you engage with yourself. Without them, you become vulnerable to exploitation, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. But when you define your boundaries clearly, honestly, and unapologetically, you become someone others naturally respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. Let's talk about how to bring that into your day-to-day life. Start by asking yourself this: what am I currently tolerating that drains me? Maybe it's a friend who only calls when she needs something. Maybe it's a partner who mocks your dreams. Maybe it's your own inner critic that's running on autopilot, telling you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. Make a list, not a list of complaints, a list of facts. This is what's happening, this is how it affects me, and this is what I will and will not accept moving forward. Now comes the hard part, enforcing it. When someone crosses your boundary, you don't need to yell, you don't need to justify, you need to state it calmly, clearly, and with conviction. I'm not comfortable being spoken to that way. That doesn't work for me. I understand your point, but I'm making a different choice. Short, direct, firm. At first, people might push back, especially if they're used to you being agreeable or passive. But don't confuse their discomfort with your mistake. That resistance is proof that the boundary was necessary. Over time, those who respect you will adapt, and those who don't, let them go. The deeper reward? You start trusting yourself again. When you honor your own boundaries, you reinforce the belief that your feelings matter, that your peace matters, that you are not here to be stretched thin for the comfort of others. Women are often taught to be accommodating at all costs, to make peace instead of noise. But peace that costs your self-worth isn't peace, it's quiet suffering. So define your lines, defend them gently but firmly. And don't be afraid to walk away from people, places, or habits that no longer align with who you're becoming. Respect starts with you, and once you show the world how to treat you, it will follow your lead. Rule 3. Don't confuse agreeableness with strength. Agreeableness may be socially rewarded, but it rarely commands respect. Motivation: many women are conditioned to keep the peace at all costs. But there's a difference between being kind and being a doormat. Strength is not found in silence. It's found in standing up, even when it's uncomfortable. In a world where kindness is often equated with weakness, it's essential to understand a powerful truth. Agreeableness does not equate to strength. Being kind, being understanding, and being cooperative are valuable qualities, but when they come at the expense of your self-respect or your goals, they become liabilities. They turn into tools of self-sabotage because they mask the deeper truth that you are not showing up authentically. Instead, you're bending, adapting, and shrinking to fit a mold that others expect from you. It's easy to fall into the trap of people-pleasing. We're social creatures and we want to be liked. We want to fit in, to avoid confrontation, to keep the peace. But what happens when you prioritize others' comfort over your own? You lose your voice, you diminish your worth, you become invisible even in your own life. Being agreeable in situations that undermine your own needs is not a virtue. It's not a sign of strength or goodness. It's a sign of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of standing firm in your own beliefs and desires. But true strength, true power, it comes from knowing when to say no, even when it's hard. It comes from standing up for yourself, even if it's uncomfortable. It comes from saying, I will no longer tolerate what diminishes me, and meaning it, not in anger, but with the calm, confident conviction of someone who has done the hard work of building their own self-worth. Here's the thing, you can be kind without being a doormat. You can be cooperative without losing yourself. You can stand firm in your beliefs while still treating others with respect. The key is to strike the balance between being kind and being firm in your own convictions. You must develop the strength to disagree when necessary, and the wisdom to know when to speak up, even if it challenges the status quo. So how do you live this out in your daily life? Start by recognizing moments when you're agreeing out of habit or fear, not because you genuinely align with the situation. When someone makes a request that doesn't fit with your values or priorities, say no. Say it with clarity and without guilt. If it's uncomfortable, that's okay. Discomfort is the price of authenticity. Next, don't be afraid to challenge others when they treat you in ways that don't align with your boundaries. This isn't about confrontation for the sake of confrontation. It's about knowing that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. Lastly, practice self-respect. When you start saying no to things that compromise your integrity, you'll begin saying yes to the things that nourish you. You'll build stronger relationships because you're showing up as your authentic self, not a watered-down version of yourself designed to please others. Women are often taught to accommodate, to smooth things over, to make sure everyone is happy, but real strength lies in knowing who you are and what you stand for. It's in the quiet confidence of being willing to say no when necessary and the courage to speak your truth, even if it makes others uncomfortable. You don't need to please everyone. You need to respect yourself first, and when you do, others will have no choice but to respect you too. Rule 4. Take responsibility for your own life entirely. Your life isn't someone else's job, it's yours. Own it. Motivation, blaming others disempowers you. When you take full responsibility for your thoughts, habits, and direction, you reclaim your power. You stop waiting to be rescued. You become the hero of your own story. Complaining is easy. It's human nature to vent when things aren't going well. But what happens when complaining becomes a habit? You begin to reinforce the narrative that life is happening to you, that you're a victim of circumstances. You focus on what's wrong without ever shifting your attention to what you can do to make it right. That's where the trap lies. If you allow yourself to fall into a cycle of constant complaining, you become paralyzed. You stop seeking solutions. Instead, you wallow in frustration, feeling helpless and powerless. And in that state, nothing changes. The key to breaking out of this cycle is realizing that you are in control of your response. Yes, life will throw challenges at you, some small, some massive, but you have the power to choose how you react. You can either surrender to the discomfort, allowing it to fester and grow, or you can take action. You can decide to stop complaining and start solving. This doesn't mean you should ignore your feelings. You are allowed to feel frustrated, sad, or overwhelmed. Those emotions are valid. What's important is that you don't stay stuck in those feelings. It's crucial to process them, understand them, and then move forward with the intention of finding solutions. It's about shifting your focus from what's wrong to what can be done. Here's how you can apply this principle in your daily life. First, take inventory of your current complaints. What do you find yourself saying over and over again? Do you complain about your job, your relationships, your circumstances? Now ask yourself, what can I do to change this? Not in a perfect world fantasy way, but in a practical, real-life way. What's one small thing you can do to improve the situation? One step toward a solution is all you need to begin moving in the right direction. For example, if you're dissatisfied with your job, instead of complaining about your boss or workload, think about how you can improve your situation. Is it time to develop a new skill? Is there a conversation you need to have with your supervisor? Or is it time to start looking for new opportunities that align more with your values and goals? In relationships, if you feel misunderstood or unappreciated, stop complaining to others about it. Have an honest conversation with the person involved. Take responsibility for your part in the dynamic and express your needs clearly and assertively. Real solutions come from real, direct action, not from gossip or passivity. When you focus on solutions, you shift from a mindset of helplessness to one of empowerment. You stop being a passive observer of your life and become an active participant in shaping it. You realize that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you have complete control over how you respond. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each time you catch yourself complaining, redirect that energy into action. Even small steps matter. With every solution you seek, you build your resilience. You cultivate the mindset of someone who faces life's challenges head on, knowing that every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. When you stop complaining and start solving, you take back your power. You stop letting life happen to you and begin to take charge of your destiny. The world doesn't owe you perfection, but you owe it to yourself to keep moving forward, no matter how difficult the journey. And that is the most empowering choice you can make. Rule 5. Become dangerous in the best way. A harmless woman is not virtuous. A dangerous woman who chooses to be good, that's strength. Motivation. Being gentle is only admirable if it's a choice, not a limitation. Cultivate competence. Develop resilience. Learn to defend yourself. Intellectually, emotionally, and even physically. People respect those who can bite, but choose not to. The concept of raising children is a responsibility unlike any other. As a parent, you aren't just guiding them, you're shaping the future. And one of the most powerful lessons you can teach them is how to behave and how to treat others, not just by words, but by example. This rule might seem like a direct challenge to parents, especially mothers, but it is rooted in a profound truth. If you do not set boundaries and instill discipline, you risk allowing behaviors that lead to resentment, frustration, and even a fractured relationship down the road. This rule isn't about perfection or being a strict parent. It's about establishing respect for yourself, for others, and for your children. When you let behaviors slide because you're too busy, too tired, or too afraid of confrontation, you are not doing anyone a favor. You're allowing them to become undisciplined, disrespectful, and potentially destructive, not only to themselves, but to the people around them. The truth is, when you let them get away with things that make you dislike them, you are failing to equip them with the tools they need to thrive in the world. So, how can you apply this in your daily life, especially when parenting feels like an endless balancing act? Start with clear expectations. Children are not mind readers. They need to know what is acceptable and what isn't. Set boundaries early, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Yes, it might mean saying no more often, or dealing with tantrums and resistance, but those moments of discomfort are teaching your child something far more valuable than immediate obedience. They're learning the importance of respect, of being responsible for their actions, and of understanding the consequences of their behavior. Consistency is key. It's easy to let things slide in the moment. Perhaps you're tired after a long day, or you don't want to deal with a difficult situation. But consistency is what breeds respect. When your child knows that you will follow through on what you say, they will learn the value of discipline and self-control. This doesn't mean being harsh or punitive. It means being fair and holding them accountable in a way that is both loving and firm. Model the behavior you expect. Children are incredibly perceptive. They are watching you, not just listening to you. If you want them to behave with respect, kindness, and self-discipline, you need to lead by example. Show them how to treat others with empathy, how to speak with kindness, and how to handle challenges with grace. If you lose your temper regularly or neglect your own responsibilities, don't be surprised when your children do the same. Teach the value of consequences. Life doesn't always give us second chances, and neither should you when your child's behavior consistently crosses a line. By letting them experience the natural consequences of their actions, you help them understand the world more clearly. It's a place where good behavior is rewarded and bad behavior leads to setbacks. This builds resilience and emotional intelligence as they learn that their choices matter and that they are accountable for them. Finally, remember that discipline isn't about control, it's about growth. You are helping them build a foundation for a life where they are able to navigate challenges, respect others, and ultimately respect themselves. When you avoid letting your child's behavior push you to the brink of dislike, you are raising a responsible, empowered individual who will carry these lessons into adulthood. In your own life, this rule calls for self-reflection too. Are you letting behaviors that you don't like slide in your relationships, in your work, or in your own self-care? The principle applies to how you treat yourself as well. Set the boundaries that will help you grow into the person you want to be, not just the person others expect you to be. So, there you have it, the 5 rules you must set to stop being walked on and start commanding the respect you deserve. Remember, these aren't just suggestions. They're foundational truths that will transform your relationships and your life. Now, I want to hear from you. Which rule resonated most with you, and what's the first step you're taking to set your boundaries today? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you're ready to level up your life even more, check out my next video. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. It's the perfect next step on your journey.